So, in between the last video I did and this video, I've actually changed jerseys twice. I put on my Bruins third jersey, the nice one with the bear on the front. I like that jersey. Not the Winter Classic one, but the one before that. Then I decided that we've got fleas are bad this time of year in BC. And so I bathed this little girl, and she was an angel for me. So I thought, well, I'll bath the other little white and black kitty. I stepped on a nail and gouged my foot open pretty good. I've got toilet paper and a sock holding the toilet paper in place. The bleeding last I checked was under control, but there's blood all over the bottom of my foot. And then my wrist and hand got scratched up pretty good by the other little kitty who thinks I was trying to kill her. You understand. She's purring. She's happy. She's like, I'm not itching anymore. Thank you, Dad. The other one is still licking the water off and still hates me, even though there was just, yeah, the fleas are bad. And then, you know, I was doing this just to get them until tomorrow when we're going to get them the prescription stuff you get from the vet for, and I'm not using the shot because that can kill a cat, but there's other stuff you can get. So that was fun. So just keep that in mind that I've lost blood since the last time I talked to you guys. So if I seem to get a little dazed, that's why I'm giving you guys this disclaimer. I got pretty gouged up by one cat. I stepped on a nail while I was carrying her. I didn't drop her. Ripped open the skin on the bottom of my foot and had blood everywhere, but I didn't drop her. And she stayed in the bathroom while I shrieked and tried to make sure the nail wasn't still in my foot. And I had to find the nail. That was fun. All right. And I'm still here talking to you guys. Nothing will stop me from talking to you guys. Nothing. So, the competition committee meets tonight. This is being done June 4th. And I also want to state, I've been sniffing a lot lately because there's allergies. Cottonwoods. So if you're sniffing during this video, that's why. If anybody thinks I have a drug problem, believe me, if I had the money and the time and the inclination towards drugs, it would have come up way before now. I never touched any drug stronger than codeine. Those T3s I was on during the last week, that's the strongest drug I've ever tried. And I didn't think they were bothering me at all. I was like, these aren't affecting me at all. Until I realized I was passing out a lot. Because I'm like, am I getting mono? Do I have narcolepsy? Oh, it's the T3s. So I'm not too bright. But I'm bright on this. So the competition committee is meeting, which is good, because you need that. And on the table is reviewing offsides. I'm as sick of it as you guys. I am so sick of every bloody goal being reviewed. Seems like every time there's a goal, there's a coach's challenge in. All right. One topic of consideration is this. If you make a challenge, and it's clear that you're not challenging something that you should be challenging, your team gets a penalty. It's the measuring the stick infraction. The infamous Marty McSorley incident. Remember, you know, the stick blade was the wrong bend. And then all coaches were like, well, we want to measure his stick. We think that's an illegal blade. That's an illegal blade. And it was being done more for the timeout without using the timeout. And that's what's happening too with these reviews. It's like, okay, I know this isn't going to be a goal. Or I know this is going to be a goal. But I'll just call the review anyways. If we get it, great. If we don't, I lose a timeout. It's fine. But if they also get penalized, it's going to cause some coaches to pause. And the less coaches' challenges you have, the better the game flows. The more interesting the game is. The less you're like, oh my God, it's a football game. You know, in the NFL, how everything's reviewed all the time, constantly, and you're like, did the ball bobble? I think it bobbled. I don't really care that it bobbled. It's been 10 minutes. I'm waiting to find out what the referees think. And then they make the call and you go, all right, that's not what I saw, but all right, we're just going to keep playing. That's what hockey's turning into. But the other issue they're discussing, and I think this is going to be the crux of next season. If the NHL, again, wants to bring in fans who aren't hockey fans, they have to call the rule book. The number one rule not being called is slashing. You can slash at a guy's hands, at his stick, nothing happens. So what the committee wants to discuss is enforcing the rules, starting with slashing. And it's been said that they've counted as many as 80 slashes per game. This isn't a one-team thing. This isn't a, oh, Sidney Crosby does it. This isn't a, oh, Marchand does it. Everybody's doing it. The bar has fallen so low in what's being called for a penalty. The players are like, all right, well, we can just keep doing this. Fixing the issue comes back to the clutching and grabbing in 2004. It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That you could just grab a guy's jersey and hold on. Oh, he's going to have a breakaway. Nope. Grab his jersey, pull him back. Knock the puck off his stick. That's fine. It was happening a lot. Guys going around the outside, one hand, grab a jersey. And I will not call it a sweater because I live on the West Coast. I looked that up last night. I'm like, yeah, it's West Coast. West Coast, we call it jerseys. Back East, they call it sweaters. They can deal with it themselves. And that's just in Canada. In the U.S., they're all just jerseys. And the NHL.com site calls them jerseys. So anyways, you grab them by the jersey, and you ride them into the boards. That's how it was done. Hooking? Absolutely. I'm not as fast as you. You're trying to go around the outside. Here's my stick around your waist. And pull. Trying to go through the middle. My partner and I both look at each other. We both put our sticks out and hold you back. Coming out of the 2004, 2005 schmozzle, the one fix was getting rid of that. And it was tough. It meant the end of careers like Darian Hatcher, Mike Rathje, and others. Richard Smalek, I think, was one too that just done. If you couldn't keep up, if you didn't have the speed, you couldn't hook and hold anymore. So the game was no longer for you. And teams knew the game was no longer for you and would not sign you. It was a rough ride. It meant the end of some careers. The same thing will happen if slashing is called down the middle by the book. Certain guys, and I'm thinking more along the lines of the defensive defenseman, who may have great stats with the advanced crowd, are going to struggle. Because when a guy's coming in and they do this, it's going to get called. And you see it all the time. You see it in games constantly. Like I said, 80 times in one game it was seen that there was a slash. I tried writing down the number of times I saw it in a game. I was going to write down cross-checks and everything else too, and it's just, there's no point. There's no point. Because it is so prevalent and it's everywhere. So the only way this is going to work is for the NHL to say, all right, this is being called 100% by the rulebook. There's two ways you can do this. You could start at the American Hockey League level and do it for a year down there first, where they play by the rules. They even go by maybe the coach's challenge is a 2-minute penalty. You do both things there for a year, see how it works, see if it improves the game, and then you bring it up to the NHL level. It's been done before. When they took out the red line, they tried it first at the AHL level to say, is this really going to work? So they could do it. Or they could say, this is it. This is the line. This is how it's going to work. Send out videos to all 30 head coaches and say, make sure your players know this is where we're calling it. These plays are now penalties. And then during the preseason, you're going to have 15 power plays each team. By the start of the season, you're down to about 8 power plays per team. And by mid-season, you're down to about maybe an extra 2 per game. 1 per team. Players will adapt. And the players who can't, the players that you see on defense that are constantly having players go around them, will be out of the league. And some of them are going to be big money defensemen. You know, the guys who are big and strong, can't really skate particularly well, and that slash is necessary. I'm not talking about Crosby. Crosby doesn't need to slash anybody. He can adapt to this rule no problem. Because if he say, I'm sure Crosby hearing this would be like, oh, so they can't slash me anymore? Deal. Absolutely, deal. Done. Done. Where do I sign? Because Crosby takes more abuse than most other players. Because he's a star. He has the puck a lot. If they crack down on that and on some of the cross-checks, I mean, my God, some of the cross-checks I've seen in the playoffs that are right in front of the ref and don't get called, come on. You're supposed to be caring about headshots, and right now there's a court case about concussions, and you might want to start looking like you care. So if the competition committee brings that up as well, we might be on our way to a better game. We might be on our way to a less chippy, more skilled game. The thing I find funny is, and anytime I discuss this in a video, people are like, oh, you just want like Euro hockey and you don't want any hitting. Have I mentioned hitting? I'm talking about cross-checking and slashing. There'd be more hitting. Because if it's a fast, high-speed skill game, instead of just lazy is slashing. Lazy is a cross-check. The play that requires more thought and more effort is the body check. So instead of a guy coming in on me on the outside just slashing his wrist, there you go. You're not going to be going in anymore, are you, Mr. Goudreau? Johnny Hockey'd be very happy to see this getting called. Now I have to body check him. I have to take him into the boards. I have to make sure he has the puck, because otherwise it's interference. But I have to body check him now. You're going to see more checks, more hits, by calling the rulebook as it should be. You're going to see more speed. You're going to see more of those high-speed hits. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, you're going to see more head injuries from high-speed hits. There will be some, especially at the beginning. But the game has a way of fixing these things when the rulebook's being called. So hits that target the head, those primary target is the head. The first thing you hit, those are still getting called too. The biggest thing for the NHL when I've watched this kind of thing happen is they call the rulebook. They go, we're calling this. And then all of a sudden they stop calling something else. So that's the trick. That's what the NHL has to make sure they don't do. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And again, allergies, cottonwood. Yeah, cottonwood is a pain in the ass. It really is. It sucks. And we had a pretty nasty winter followed by an extremely wet spring. And I can see the cottonwood falling by the window as I speak. It is obnoxious. I hate it. But at least I'm not sick. So thank you very much for watching. And by all means, hit that subscribe button. And I'll talk to you again soon.